So I thought that this is the perfect time for us to also, as a collective, and this year we celebrate 10 years of the Tribal Intellectual Collective. So that's quite a long time for a group like us. So I thought that 10 years of the Tribal Intellectual Collective and meeting together by organizing webinars across the regions of this country, trying to somehow articulate what a tribal perspective or an Adivasi perspective, what is a tribal need or what is an Adivasi need at this point in time, to help one way develop our own understanding of how we foresee our own communities in the next by 2047. At the same time, contribute to these debates that are happening in which the government is trying to formulate such a vision document. So the first thing is that this particular webinars that we are organizing is part of 6 webinars. Today we have Northeast as the focus. And we have requested 5 of our members, Dr. Bisranjan, Dr. Rocky, Dr. Lavinia, Dr. Batskem, and Mr. Manoranjan to share their thoughts. It is not about being very specific, because we also are not very clear how we will develop these vision documents for the tribal community in the country. And we are an academic community. We are neither a political community or affiliated to any particular group. We are an academic community of academics, of professors, of teachers, of who are in the university system, or who are independent researchers, or who are actually scholars researching at this point in time. So we also are not very clear what do we basically envisage achieving by organizing gatherings of this kind. So each of the presenters are not expected to give a very, very clear, sophisticated articulation of a vision 2047. We are basically saying, let all of us from various regions in the country speak what we think as academics is something that probably collectively we can envision in the next so many years before we reach 2047. Now, one day I saw one comment made by one individual when we put up this poster, and the comment was that I do not know how many of us will still be there in 2047. So is it even meaningful to discuss 2047 when we are not there anymore? So at least from the perspective of the tribal collective, I think it is not only important, but it is imperative for us. We might not be there, but our community will be there. And it is our duty at this point in time to articulate our needs for the future generation, as the earlier generation has done in order for us to be able to live a life that we have today. So we are not expected to kind of give a very clear, very refined, very polished presentation. We just want to hear your thoughts. How do you personally, from your lived experience, from the kind of work that you've been doing, from the kind of research that you've been engaging in, how do you foresee the tribal community now 2022 till 2047? The next webinar will be Central India. In Central India also we'll have 5 people who basically will be presenting their ideas. We have many from Chotanagpur, we have some from Chhattisgarh, we have some from West Bengal, we have a few from even Orissa. So we will hear their vision about Central India and what Central India tribes have to say about Vision 2047. Then the next one is South India. We have many people from South India who will also be presenting. Then we move to the Western region, including Maharashtra, Gujarat, Rajasthan, and then we move to Northern region. We will have colleagues, members from Ladakh who will speak, from Himachal, from Uttarakhand, from Rajasthan. We will have members who to basically speak a little bit about their vision of the tribes within that particular region. And then we'll move to the islands. So we'll have a few representatives from tribal collective who will speak about what the islands, especially Andaman Nicobar Islands and many other islands that are there, how they foresee their communities in the next 20-25 years. And then finally, we move to the Himalayan range. We move to the Himalayan range and the tribes that inhabit the Himalayan ranges. And that will be the final culmination of this initiative of the Tribal Intellectual Collective to develop a broad understanding of how collectively as tribes and Adivasis in the country, we want to envision ourselves by 2047. All of these presentations made by every member of the collective will be uploaded in YouTube. We will do a little bit of editing so that we will tomorrow have a number of videos basically on this particular topic, Vision 2047 for the tribal communities in India. And we'll upload it in YouTube and we will link it to our website, the Tribal Intellectual Collective website. And so that it'll be made available for anybody who wants to see and want to hear what we have to say. Now, you know, and I know that many people do not listen to what we have to say. People they're not willing to hear what we have to say about our realities. But I don't think that should be the reason why we should not speak. Our responsibility as academics and academics representing various communities, researching our reality, engaging with other realities, other ethnicities, other communities, engaging with the state. Our duty is basically to articulate our reality as much as we can and keep that articulation available in the public domain. So we have also requested each of the presenters to write about 1,500, 2,000 words about what they present. And I have not requested Professor Kaka yet, but I have hinted to Professor Kaka that we will request him, if things come to be in which all of you are able to kind of submit something a little bit more, a clear statement, a little bit of an analysis and a little bit of a foresight about what we envision, then you could request Professor Kaka to edit that book. So Vision 2047 for tribes will be a book. It should come out as a book after we have finished all of these rounds of discussion within the Tribal Intellectual Collective. We have many members who are not members of the Tribal Collective who are participating today. We have many colleagues from across the country who have requested that they also be part of, and we have let many people. So we don't have only members of the Tribal Collective. We have members from people who are working on tribes, interested on tribes, researching on tribes. They could be tribes themselves, they could be non-tribes. So we have a very varied group that is sitting and kind of talking and discussing today a little bit. So I think that is one thing, that is just to give you a sense about what we are doing and how we envision our work of these 6 webinars that I have just kind of mentioned. Now, on top of that, the Tribal Intellectual Collective is 10 years now. And there is also a discussion within the collective of how we envision ourselves as a collective in the next 10 years. We are a decade old. So how do we envision ourselves in the next 10 years? So all of these activities that we are doing is also part of the celebration of the 10 year that we have reached as a group. People who come and go, but we are about 85 total members that we have in the Tribal Intellectual Collective. As I've mentioned in the discussion we have had, we have published, as a collective, we have published 8 books till now. We have come out with a special issue and 2 special issues of 1 international journal, and 1 Scopus journal is also likely to come this year. We've organized nearly 21 webinars and seminars. We have also had 2 national conferences, 1 in Shillong and 1 in Bihaban. And there's so many activities which a tribal collective has done. So as part of these processes and celebrating these also, this is the gathering that we're having today. So I request each of my colleagues who are presenting today, there's no need to feel burdened or overburdened by the responsibility that has been given to you. It's just a sharing among tribes, among people working on tribal issues and members of the collective. So you can take 20 minutes each. And in these 20 minutes, we will complete everybody's presentation first. And then collectively, even the presenters can discuss and engage with themselves, and all other members who are present today, they can also reflect together. This is not a question answer. This is not a seminar for people to question anything that we are saying. This is a webinar in which people come to contribute to a vision, to contribute to what we have to say as a community of academics, as community of the tribes, as community of people engaging on research and scholarly work on tribal issues. So there is no question and answer session. There is a contribution if you want to make. but I would request the presenters to engage with themselves. And at the end, I will come to kind of summarize and give a few kind of points of how we should probably move ahead and what can come. The second point which I want to mention is that in the coming few months, the Tribal Intellectual Collective have been requested to participate in a lot of community programs. On 29th, 30th, and 31st of March, we have been invited by the Bodoland Regional Territorial Region, by the Bodoland Territorial Region, to participate in a 3-day intellectual gathering of all the tribes in this country. Last time we had gone together as a group to Bodoland. This time also they're organizing a huge, massive program in which they request many of us to be part. So we are being invited to many of these programs to provide new ideas, to think together with the community, to provide, to feed new knowledges and new ideas and new research data to the community. So these are the activities that are planned up, and this is exactly how this webinar today is planned to. This is how I have contextualized a little bit and given a little bit of a framework of how we should proceed. So with these few words, before we have a detailed discussion later, I will call my colleague Biswaranjan Tripura